Hi everyone, I'm going to be talking about the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This film stars Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. The two main protagonists of this movie is going to be Joel, played by Jim Carrey, and Clementine, played by Kate Winslet. Um, I think this was probably the third time I've watched this movie, but I haven't seen it for a while. But basically, this movie starts with a a short preview of Joel and Clementine's relationship and how they met. And it goes into a scene where, Joel's crying, assuming that it was a breakup. And he comes to find out that through a memory erasing process done by a company called Lacuna, um, Clementine had gotten all of her memories wiped that pertained to anything related to Joel or their relationship. And you could assume that Joel found this news extremely challenging to deal with. And that led to him contacting this company and going under this procedure as well. And that is kind of what this main movie is about. So the movie itself, or I should say the film, has a lot to do with personal identity, and you could also talk about metaphysics in this as well. Um, the metaphysical issue of personal identity and whether or not memories make us, or if you can take away memories and still remain the same person. So, as Joel is going through this process, you are given these memories of their past relationship and, good memories, bad memories, and it hits them a little bit, and it's hard to, I guess, say goodbye to this person. And he starts to go back on his original decision, and he starts to fight the procedure. And of course, that is a good chunk of the film. And it kind of shows that memories sometimes can be part of a person, and you can't really erase a memory because they're infiltrated into so many other factors that I think people don't realize. And I guess in this case, Joel did not realize. And towards the end of the movie, the film, um, you can see that the last, I guess, memory that is being wiped was their old house where they first met, Joel and Clementine. And water is also it's a big symbol in this movie, but it's also just shown a lot of, drowning or the sea or ice that they would lay on when they first met in the beginning of the movie. But in this ending of kind of the final memory erasure, he kind of decides, I'm okay. I guess he had to finish the procedure anyways, but he kind of accepted it, and him and Clementine still found each other through both of their memory erasures. And I really liked that part. Obviously, it wasn't the same as their previous relationship, but it seems to be even better than it maybe would have been. But if we're talking about two famous philosophers here, we'll talk about John Locke and Derek Parfit. Locke's theory is usually suggesting that personal identity is tied to memory. And in this film, Joe undergoes this procedure at, I always forget the name, at Lacuna, to erase these memories of Clementine. And Locke would argue that this kind of disrupts your reality because certain parts are missing, certain parts are a little different because you're like, wait, I have this memory of this person, but I don't. And it kind of is back and forth with the ego. Now, if we're talking about Derek Parfit, he emphasizes that subconscious is trying to retain the emotional connection, which the continuity over memory. Um, but basically, his idea was that identity persists through emotional connection, and you can kind of see that in throughout the movie, but also the end where he he is trying to get rid of these memories, but yet the thought of Clementine and kind of that feeling of the connection is still kind of permeating through his memory, his identity. And so I guess I would give this movie a honestly a 10 out of 10. Every time I watched it, I loved it, but I think I loved it even more now that I looked at it through a different light. Whereas before, I'm just kind of watching it and thinking. But yeah, the psychological connections in this movie are definitely really interesting, and I would give it a try. See you later.